Hello, everyone. My name is Gary Baumgarten, but you already know that. And my guest today is David Eubank. He is the founder of the Free Burma Rangers Aid Agency. And we all know that there have been massacres on a daily basis in Myanmar/Burma. Everybody has a preference on how they want to call the country. It doesn't really matter. What matters is what's going on the ground. David, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Well, it's absolutely my pleasure, and we did this on very short notice, and I appreciate you making yourself available. I know you're very busy there. Tell me what's going on during this military coup. The latest atrocities have to do with airstrikes on civilians and the massive gunning down of protesters.
Yes, sir. So, before the coup, Burma was already in its 72nd year of guerrilla warfare, the longest running civil war in the world going on in Burma, as different dictators have oppressed the people, especially the ethnic minorities that comprise 40% of the population of the nation. But 5 years ago, there were some ceasefires. It got a little better, and the Burma military allowed Aung San Suu Kyi and the National League for Democracy to have a part of the government after elections. But the coup of February the 1st this year wiped all that out. The Burma military was tired of dealing with the civilians and took power. They also turned to the ethnics, some of whom they had a ceasefire, such as the Karen, and they attacked. And we had about 3,000 people displaced in the beginning. But now in northern Karen state alone, which is in eastern Burma, we have 12,000 people hiding in the jungle right now. We have thousands more up in 𝐾𝐶N state, the far north of Burma. We have over 3,000 in Shan state as well. And so the Burma army has killed over 500 of their own people in the cities who are demonstrators and now attacking the ethnics. And then most recently, starting on the 27th of this month of March through to today, when we were just talking in the beginning, I got a report from one of my team leaders. There were airstrikes today as well at noon in northern Karen state. And these airstrikes have driven more people in the jungle. They've killed 5 people, including 2 children, and wounded 8. And everyone is hiding and afraid, and they can't go out and plant their rice. So the situation is very bad in Burma right now.
And there's a lot of international condemnation actually worldwide from even nations that otherwise are not particularly allied in other issues. There seems to be a universal belief that this has to stop and stop immediately.
Yes, and we're very grateful for that. And we hope and we call on the international community to do even more pressure on the regime and direct humanitarian assistance to the demonstrators and protesters and to the ethnic people in the mountains. Also, we believe that the United States and the international community, those that are willing, can help unite and bring together the ethnic leaders and the shadow government, the leaders that aren't arrested yet in Burma, bring them together to work to build a future Burma and also to have negotiations with the dictators, not so the dictators remain, but how can they step down? And I believe also if none of that works, then our appeal is for intervention, either indirect, where you support the ethnics, or direct. But we have a responsibility to protect, our generation, the generation past said never again after the Holocaust. Well, here it is happening again. And we have the ability to stop it.
There's an interesting parallel right now between what's happening here in the United States, the debate over our southern border, and the refugees trying to stream in since the election of Joe Biden as president, and what's going on the borders of both Thailand and India, where there's a lot of pressure. People are trying to cross over, and the governments of both countries have been somewhat resistant.
Right. So that is the same as the U.S. and any country in terms of you have to normally get your visa and your passport stamped and get permission to come to a country. That's the same dynamic as you see in Thailand, India, Burma, and United States and Mexico. However, that's the end of the similarities, because the people of Burma that flee to Thailand or India don't want to go and have no intention of staying. And when they go, they're in little refugee camps that are not fun to be in. They're dead ends. and they're only going because they'll be killed by war. And so that's a different dynamic. Mostly in Mexico and Central America, you don't have all-out war. And even if you did, the other difference is that the Karen, for example, that have fled to Thailand, they want to go home as soon as they can. They have no intention of staying here. So it's a very different, in that sense, it's a different dynamic. And so I think I'm grateful that Thailand has a policy to receive those people. Thailand has the same policy as the United States. If you're just coming over to get a job, or you're a criminal or whatever, you can't just come over. You've got to go through the right processes. But if someone's shooting at you and your intention is to go back, you can come in.
Exacerbating the situation, and here's another similarity, is the COVID, because the people in Myanmar haven't been vaccinated, and a lot of the folks coming across the border have been testing positive. And India, it's out of control anyway already. But Thailand has been very successful until recently. They went months and months, I think over 6 months, with no local transmissions of the COVID, and that they're now very serious public health concerns because of this pressure at the border.
You're right. And although most of the people, for example, right now coming from Karen State, there's not even one symptom. I spend most of my time in there. We haven't had anybody die of a respiratory disease this year in the area I was in, which is very rare because there's a flu and all those normal things. But that could change. As more people flee, you're right, you could bring COVID in. And that is a concern of the Thai government. But they've taken steps that the areas they've selected, people will be held in those areas and then screened. So they're not just going to be going everywhere.
So tell me about the Free Burma Rangers. What is your mission there in Myanmar?
Well, our mission is to give help. That's humanitarian assistance, medicine, clothes, shelter, to give hope, reminding people, in my view, God is always with us, and we're with you. We won't run unless you run. If you run, we're going to run with you. And to give love, and which I think is the most powerful thing. I'm motivated by what I feel Jesus Christ has done for me, not because I'm good, but the love he puts in me, the forgiveness he gives me. But FBR is made up, we have Buddhist, Muslim, atheists, agnostics, spirit worshipers. Anybody can join as long as you can do three things. Do this for love, because we don't pay the teams. They're all volunteers. And be able to read and write in some language, because to do good medicine and to make reports, you have to be literate in some language. And last, physical and moral courage, meaning you can't leave the people if they're under attack. If they leave, you leave with them, but you can't leave them. Whether you have a weapon or not, you have to stay with them. So we have 100 teams from 13 ethnic groups in Burma. These are small 5-man teams, women, some women too. And we also have teams in Iraq and Syria, because when ISIS came up in 2014 and 15, we were invited to bring some of our medics from Burma to Iraq and Syria. And so we have work there also.
So you must be a bit of a thorn in the side of the junta there in Myanmar, because you want them to stop killing and they continue to kill. So that puts you at odds with them. Is that making your work more dangerous?
Well, no more dangerous than the people they're trying to kill.
I understand that. I understand that. I'm not trying to minimize their situation. Of course, they're the prime target, but are they trying to kill you and your people as well?
Oh, of course. I've lost 30 of my guys there, killed, shot, captured and tortured, landmines, RPGs, and oh yeah, and I've been shot at quite a few times in there myself, and by God's grace, and I don't know, have escaped being killed so far, but yeah, they will try to kill you, and they do not like what we do at all. And even though our work is humanitarian, they don't want us helping the people they're trying to crush.
And they probably especially would tolerate you more so were you not giving interviews such as this. So I appreciate you being here with me, because this is on the internet. I don't know how closely the junta follows the news coverage in the United States. Probably not that closely. They're too busy trying to prosecute their war against the civilian population there. But once you put something on the internet, it can reach them. And so you're not in a vacuum here. And so I think I recognize that you are putting yourself even at further risk by doing an interview such as this. And I just want to express my appreciation for that.
Thank you. You're right. A risk not only from the Burma Army, but maybe surrounding countries that don't want you to do this. But I want to say this. I want to take this opportunity in case someone from the regime watches this. And I want to say this. What 𝐼𝐧𝐭𝐲 said, the Russian dissident, the line of good and evil runs through all our hearts. It's not between nations, peoples, and governments, every person. And so we, the Free Burma Rangers and the ethnic people that we serve, we're not better than the dictators. We're not better than the army. We're humans. We can do bad too, and we do bad. There's no black and white. We're a mix. But what our aim is love. Our aim is justice, freedom, democracy, reconciliation. And that reconciliation means we have to forgive each other. And so our message, although we have no political power, is dictators and army, police, no matter what you've done, we'll forgive you. But we will never give up. We will, because we love you, and that is God's love in our heart. We don't agree with you. We love you. We're not going to stand by and watch you crush people. It's bad for us, and it's bad for you. So take this opportunity to step down and step back. And our goal is not to crush anyone, but it's to make a new Burma. So I met one general during negotiations of the ceasefire back in 2011 of the Burma Army. Now he's pushed out now. His name is General Ong Min, and I hope this doesn't get him in trouble, but I don't think he's already out. But I met him at the border at a ceasefire negotiation, and I shook his hand and I said, if I saw you 24 hours ago, we'd probably both be dead. And he laughed, and I held his hand. He's Buddhist. I said, can I pray? He goes, yes. He spoke English. He saw my kids. He says, these are the kids that grew up in the jungle? Yes, because my kids grew up with the people. And he patted them on the head and he said, good kids. And then I held his hand and I said, Lord Jesus, thank you I could meet General Ong Min. Help us find a new way for Burma. And I felt this warmth. He's my enemy, but I felt this warmth between him and I. Well, unfortunately, he was pushed aside later. And that ceasefire fell apart. But that's what I hope one day. But until that day happens, we will stand with these people. And if we have to fight, we'll fight. We're not a military group. We're not there to fight, but normally we run away with the people, but we will stand with them.
So David Eubank, finally, I want to say that I suspect that this interview will touch the hearts of, I hope, a lot of people, but even if it's only several people who might see it. And they're probably wondering, Gary, would you get to the point, which probably wasn't really the point of the interview, but tell us how we could contribute to the Free Burma Rangers.
Thanks, Gary. That's awesome. Number one, pray for us. Number two, speak on behalf of the people of Burma. Contact your congressman, your senator, say those people count. We can do something. Number three, if you feel led, you can donate. www.freeburmarangers.org is our website. You can donate through there. And there's also many other groups working in Burma that you can help. So those are some of the ways that you can help. Pray, talk to your government representative, donate, come over yourself if you feel so led. But most of all, Gary, this interview lifts my spirits that you care and people care. So thank you.
Well, you lift my spirits by doing it because, like many people in the United States, we read the stories. I report the stories about what's going on in Myanmar. I'm not there covering what's happening, but we are reporting on the air what we know from dispatches that we're getting from Reuters, from the Associated Press. This is the first opportunity I've had to actually talk to somebody who's on the ground in Burma doing the humanitarian work and giving us a firsthand look at what's happening. I don't think, unfortunately, this story is going to go away quickly, and I would appreciate your indulgence and being available should I need to reach out to you again for an update in the future.
It's an honor, sir. And if you can't get hold of me by phone, you can email me like you did the first time. Please email me. Email me a couple times, because wherever I go in Burma, I have a backpack satellite system, and I check my email every day, and I can call you by satellite phone.
Yeah, you're going to have to wear a second hat of gonzo journalist, because that's kind of what you are as well. Dave Eubank, thank you very much. Please stay safe and continue the good work.
God bless you, Gary, and anyone who watches. Thanks, sir.